As Bucky said at the start of the evening, we've already seen the fabulous work with Interclass on Project Chrysalis. Partnerships are something we value very highly at Combined and something we do well. One of our most productive partnerships over the years has been with Stoke City Football Club. So it is my pleasure to invite Simon King to say a few words to us. Simon.
Good evening, everyone. Just like to second congratulations to the choir. That was a phenomenal performance, so amazing to be here for that. Look, first of all, I'd just like to say a really big thank you for having me here to speak to you today. I genuinely have a huge amount of respect for everything that you do, and I'm looking forward to the biggest scale mental health assessment of my life, so please go gentle with me. So what does mental health landscape look like in professional football? Well, the fact is, it's a massive focus for everyone involved in the game. From a football fan's perspective on a Saturday afternoon, it's an escape from everyday life. The stadium is a place for nirvana for many. They meet and chat with friends for life, yet these friends they only see at Saturday afternoon at the football. They hug complete strangers. They sing songs at the top of their voice but refuse to do karaoke later that night. It really is a mental release for so many, and at times it's a real form of therapy for some people. From the point of view of the players, there are massive highs and devastating lows, and that happens on a weekly basis. Young lads earning big money and dropping out of the sport at elite level can range from ages 8 to 40 years old. I can reel off names of high-profile players who we all know, troubles that have made it to the public domain like Tony Adams, Paul Merson, Neil Lennon, Richarlison, Dele Alli, to name but a few. These are examples, without doubt, at the very tip of a huge iceberg within our sport. There have been some high-profile examples in other sports too. The way that English cricket handled Ben Stokes in giving him an indefinite break from the game in 2021, and the player he subsequently bounced back to be, was a great example of dealing with the situation sensitively and empathetically to the ultimate benefit of all. Such respectful and lighter treatment of an elite sporting star would have been unthinkable probably as recently as a decade earlier. And while I'm sure there are some frustration that remains in your sector from seemingly playing second fiddle to physical health in terms of process, funding and cultural recognition, the Ben Stokes example is a testament to the progress that has undoubtedly been made in the way society has been more educated and enlightened. When high-profile people such as Stokes, Serena Williams, Adam Zampa, Naomi Osaka, Adam Peaty announce that they are taking breaks to focus on their mental health, it is no longer perceived as any more surprising than a layoff for a physical injury, and public sentiment is primarily supportive and understanding. This represents a massive progress in your sector, and I urge you to reflect upon that, appreciate it, and celebrate the part that you have played. Stepping back and reflecting upon your own achievements now and again is grounding, it's motivating, and it's good for the soul. In the context of ambition, determination, and speed of the football industry, it's a discipline that I often forget myself. But I do need to do it more, and I also need to encourage the unbelievably hard people working around me to do likewise. My position as Chief Operating Officer of Stoke City Football Club effectively means leading the business operation of the football club. We have a hugely impressive sporting director in John Walters, who heads the football operation, and we work together closely on bigger picture matters that impact the club as a whole. I, meanwhile, am accountable for responsible areas such as marketing and communications, supporter experience, non-match day events, ticketing for events up to 30,000 people, sponsorship that can run into the millions of pounds, which is critical to the football club, safeguarding of children and vulnerable adults, and the club's impact within our community. It's a broad remit and a significant challenge, one I have made harder for myself with the scale of my stated ambition to be the best performing club out of 72 in the English Football League. But to achieve great things in an organisation, you sometimes need to have tough conversations along the way. But there's no doubt that some of the toughest conversations are the ones that go on in my own mind. The decisions I will make on a daily basis can impact everyone from my team of staff to those in the terraces that I am representing. Everything you do in football is, with our fans following our every move so closely, under the spotlight. There was a period last season when relegation to League One looked like a real possibility. The immediate task was to pull everyone together in the face of adversity. The way that we did that successfully demonstrated the value of having a clear and obvious shared purpose that is achievable in the short term. But there were serious worries that came with that too. What would the reaction for relegation be to our fans? How would that impact the staff personally? How would we rebuild morale when it's so intrinsically linked to results on the field? In situations like that, overthinking becomes inevitable, and it's very easy to become consumed by the doomsday scenario, and doubtless a prevalent trait in many of the service users that you have cared for down the years. It's also relevant to state that to get to this point in my career, for better or for worse, I've had to be unwaveringly and unrelentlessly ambitious, and the highs associated with achievements such as promotions and opportunities are levelled out by enormous hurt and disappointment when things don't go the way you wanted them to. The truth is that it's your own relentless drive that has rendered the stakes so high, but that doesn't make it any easier. And in the face of all these factors, I've adopted some important coping mechanisms to help me along the way. The first one is to regularly remind myself that the pressure is a privilege. It comes with having the opportunity to live my dream of working in elite football, fulfil my ambitions, and be the custodian of an amazing club like Stoke City. Number two, by identifying and locating where I can gain access to mental health services, should they ever be required, the more everyone knows that help is available at the point of need, the better. The Inspires and the Stoke Social Programme that we run in partnership with the NHS are shining examples of both amazing collaboration between our organisations and making services available for those most vulnerable in our community. Number three, by retaining the discipline to make sure I take regular exercise and physical activity when factoring the long hours and the busy workload. Exercise so could easily be sacrificed, and it's easy to forget the power of physical activity. In fact, we are in the process of developing a brand new community strategy that focuses on getting people more active across Stoke and Staffordshire, and educating people on the benefits it will have to their mental health will play a big part. Number four, delegation. However much I have to tell myself every day not to be a complete control freak, I realised very early on in my time at Stoke City that my success will be decided by the quality of the individuals that I recruit and retain, and how I empower them, motivate them, and give them the freedom to deliver their excellence in their respective fields. I will only ever be as good as my team, no matter what leadership position we all hold, if we can all foster a culture of accountability and autonomy, which is supported by a true team spirit, then I believe we are on the right path. I also firmly believe that maintaining positive mental health is a fine balance. Nobody is immune, and there's no single way to protect yourself. Whilst in the battleground from a mental health perspective in my life today, it is to safeguard against burnout and pressure. I'm in a job that stimulates me, that challenges me intellectually, and gives me new experiences, allowing me to grow. All of those things are hugely positive from a mental health perspective. Prior to taking my first job in football, I was employed as a sales executive outside the sports industry. I was selling classified adverts in a dentistry magazine, and while it may not be might be an ideal job for someone, it was not something that stimulated me in any way. A seminal moment of that experience for me was being told by a kind and generous soul that I was dead behind the eyes while I was attending a work event. As well as being well and truly offended, I also knew they were speaking the truth, and they were right, and I needed to find a career path that I could be passionate about, be challenged and enjoy. Had I not done that by embarking on a life in football, initially at Stockport County, followed by Hull City, West Bromwich Albion, and now the great Stoke City, perhaps I would now actually be dead behind the eyes. My mental health would have suffered because I wouldn't have been as happy, fulfilled and motivated as I am today. There are, of course, only so many dream jobs that go around, and you have all doubtless helped people whose mental well-being has suffered from being stuck on the treadmill, from the monotony of repeatedly churning out a job that doesn't challenge them and that they don't enjoy. But obviously, employment is just only one factor, and there are so many life triggers, past experiences, community cohesion challenges, perhaps even physiological factors that impact a person's mental health. And you, of course, are experts in that regard, not me. But what I would say is this: everyone is on their own mental health journey, and nobody can be sure of what turning point or fork is in the road and what is coming next. It is for these reasons that your profession and expertise are amongst the most valuable and precious in society. Be proud of that. Continue to crusade for greater scope and recognition. Hold organisations like mine account for our role in prevention. Keep giving people the help they clearly need and carrying on doing a fantastic and brilliant job. Thank you for listening and enjoy the rest of your night.
Many thanks, Simon, not just for tonight and your insightful talk, but for your partnership and friendship from Stoke City Football Club towards Combined down the years. It's really appreciated. I think you've got to come back and have your photograph taken.